Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade, issue number 1. I loved the art in this book, and I love the writer of this book. But there's something missing there, right? Like a caveat. I'm going to talk about that after I give credit where credit's due. And I'll also talk about the light at the end of the rainbow that I'm really hoping for, but not with a whole lot of good reason for it. Let's get talking about this. So, this issue, it's by Cy Spurrier, that's the writer, and Sergio Davila, the artist. Inks by Sean Parsons, colors by Arif Prianto, VC's Corey Petit on letters. Iban Coelho and Jesus Abertov do the cover, bunch of variant covers, including Peach Momoko, and Selena Mahina does the production and the Black Knight logo design. The art all the way on the left of this page that I'm reading with Black Knight and the Ebony Blade in the reflection of the Ebony Blade. Weird, but I love it. The art is by Iban Coelho and Sergio Davila. So you actually have the cover artist and the interior artist doing that. And I love when, I usually, you guys know, I like it when the cover artist is the main artist or the interior artist also, because you know what you're getting. But, and if it's a, what do you call it? A variant cover that the interior artist does. Yeah, that's cute. That's a good second place, but I want the main one to be the main guy. You know what I'm saying? Or the main person. In the meantime, this was at least a good third place, let's say. The art in this book is spectacular. You know what I'm saying? Like, Davila has a way of making whatever. Look, I just want to praise the hell of the art, but I really want to get to the story that I really don't like. So Sergio Davila does incredible pencils on this. Parsons with the shading in this. I say this often, but it's like with Pink Floyd. You know what I'm saying, with the guitar. You know that we've got an incredible guitarist here, but at the end of the day, that guitar is only going to come in when it's necessary. There are not going to be any amazing, guitar solos with dive bombs and stuff like that, This is going to be, or rush drums, right? It's going to be exactly what the song needs, and there's not going to be any showing off. That's when you get a live concert drum solo, right? In this particular case, that's exactly what I see with the pencil, or with the inks on this. And the pencils are just spectacular, and they shine, and they glow, and they're amazing. And you want to talk about actual glowing and the popping, Arif Prianto is one of the foremost premier artists that Marvel has. Anytime that I see his name attached to something, I know that it is going to be the most intelligent colors that you're going to get for the most part. They pop when they need to pop. When there's sadness, it's going to be awashed like with watercolors in blue, and like you're going to feel every single panel as though they're an individual lecture waiting for you to attend. And I love that about Arif Prianto. Bang. Now let's talk about the story. Cy Spurrier, who has written, I haven't read a whole lot by the man's, but the stuff that I have read, I usually enjoy or love. You know what I'm saying? I don't recall ever disliking something that he's written before. His work on The Shadow in Dynamite was beyond amazing, and the most disappointing thing about the series was that it ended. You know? That should have just kept on going, because that was just an absolutely amazing series, and I think that they just need to give it more time, but it is what it is. Dynamite isn't a great company. Definitely not now with the directions that they're going, but you know what? I said what I said I have to say. In the meantime, that was an incredible story by Cy Spurrier. I think that's also the last time that he called himself Cy Spurrier, because all in between then and now, he's been Simon Spurrier. Hey, it's a cool name, you know what I'm saying? But Cy just sounds so much cooler. So much cooler! So in this particular case, however, he's writing the Black Knight as he's been written for the past 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. Maybe it's been longer. I don't know. We all take breaks from comic books once in a while, and especially when I have to go off to the Middle East, I don't think that's going to happen anymore, but yeah. Takes me away from comic books for a while, The, what I'm seeing here is this repeat of this silly version of this otherwise incredible character. Back in the day, you had the original Black Knight, and it was an amazing character for the time, when westerns and love stories were the big thing for comic books, right? Before there were really superhero comic books. The Black Knight was the best thing that you could get in that regard. Go and check out 10 Things About Black Knight Explained in a Minute on my channel, and you'll understand the real history of this character, right? Technically, these characters, but the name Black Knight in the Marvel comic books. You'll understand it better if you don't already, if you're not, already a fellow professor. Um, but for everybody else, alumni, the Black Knight was the character who replaced Tony Stark. Because, the Avengers have always had a rotating roster. And the first time Tony Stark left, around issue 16 of the Avengers, there was no scientific person for the Avengers. The closest we had was Hawkeye, and I guess you can imagine how that went. But later on, they realized they needed a scientific mind, so Hank Pym came back with the quickness, and it made the comic book so much better. And then Iron Man came back, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. And then he left again years later, and the person to replace him in the scientific department was Dane Whitman, the Black Knight. And I mean, this is the character who, nowadays they're making fun of the idea that he always clones his horses, and badly. Bitch, please. You say, what are you talking about? Badly? Oh my, what? So, like, he's the guy who, you like Monica Rambeau, everybody's all like WandaVision. Yeah, for me, the first time that I was introduced to a Captain Marvel character, it was Monica Rambeau. You know what I'm saying? That name has very high sentimental value to me because that's who Monica Rambeau was at the time. And I loved the character. I still love the character. As Spectrum, I love the character. Like, yay, Al Ewing for making that name for her instead of Photon, which was okay. Saying no disrespect. It was okay. But Spectrum is so much better. Anyway, who's the character who helped her to learn how to use her powers? Oh, yeah, that would be Black Knight. I mean, at the end of the day, for crying out loud, this is an incredibly intelligent character. And seeing the character grow in a team book, when all of a sudden when he went up against Zeus, when all the other Avengers got trashed, and he went up against Zeus, and he's just like, I got to figure out a way to distract him so that these guys can get back up again, because I don't know what I'm going to do against freaking Zeus, but geez, I got to try. So the courage involved with this man, right? And then we realize that, and we realize it with him, which is the best way to learn about new powers. He learns, as we learn, that he can deflect magic with his Ebony Blade also, even the lightning of Zeus. Holy crap, this is an amazing character. All these amazing storyline, and we felt bad for him when he got his ass beat by Mr. Hyde. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of these amazing times with this character. My peeps. And for Marvel to allow writers to say, well, we don't know what to do with the character, make him popular. Let's just make him a total dolt. Let's make him an idiot. Let's make him this blathering moron who runs around and he goes, Herkin, 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 and all this nonsense. Like, it's so stupid. So now, and make no mistake, Black Knight is nobody's favorite character. If he is your favorite character, you're literally one in a million, and actually probably more like one in a billion. But that being said, no disrespect to you, he's a great character. I give nothing but respect to the character. In this particular case, though, he hasn't been shown to be a good character. He's been shown to be a joke, right? It's what bad writers do to an otherwise good character when they don't know what to do with the character. Si Spurrier. Look, a lot of times when a story or an arc or a character, whatever, is so bad, they don't know what to do with the character. They'll just turn around and be like, you know what? Let's just act like this stuff never happened. And they'll just start writing him brand new. It's a system shock for the continuity buffs, but it's also usually a welcome one. We're like, oh, he's being treated like he's serious. Are we going to keep doing this? But sometimes people, and one of the people who I believe this is that light or that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for me, I believe that Si Spurrier is one of the few writers who does have the capability of doing exactly that, of taking a joke of a character who is an incredible character, but turned into a joke, and then continuity-wise, turning him back into a great character. I do believe that Si Spurrier is one of the few writers who I would trust to do something like that. And I hope that's what's happening here. Guys, at the end of the day, I just told you how great the character can be, how great he was. You know what I'm saying? There's a make Dane Whitman great again, comment there. And I have no problem saying that despite the wrongness of the saying in general, right? But for the love of God, man, this is a character who's about to be portrayed by what Kit Harington, right? The Game of Thrones dude that everybody loved, Jon Snow. He's about to be portrayed by this man's in the Eternals movie. He's supposed to be the main character along with Celine, which, yay. Let's see that. Cersei, going Hellfire Club here, with Cersei, which, awesome. I liked their romance back in the day. Those are comic books I went back and read. When Dane created his own lightsaber. Dude, people to this day are trying to create lightsabers without the big, plasma tube going to it. Dane did it! And he made it on stun also, you know? I'm saying. So, this is an incredible character. And when you've got the Eternals movie coming out, look, I've complained about not co-aligning your books with your movies, okay? WandaVision has shown that if you do an incredible story, people will go back and they will look at the comic books and they will try and absorb as much of the history as they can. All of the backstories for Wanda Maximoff have sold out at the distributor level as the WandaVision television series has been playing. It just wrapped up like what, a week, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, right? Just wrapped up. And before they even completely wrapped up, people went back and bought all of the old trade paperbacks that they could possibly get their hands on. And they couldn't, they're like, it's going to take a month and a half for us to redistribute to all the shops the physical trade paperbacks. You can still find all these stories on Marvel Unlimited or by more nefarious means. I do not recommend that. We want to keep the comic book business alive, right? Yeah, I'm not even going to give a caveat to that. Just don't steal books, please. Don't do that. But in this particular case, we've seen that shows and movies can make for better sales for comic books. It works. With the Black Panther, you got Ta-Nehisi Coates was on the Black Panther comic book while the movie came out, the original movie came out, and I complained about this big time. You've got this movie, Wakanda, Lush, all this stuff, and then people are going to go back and they're going to look at the comic books and they're going to say, oh, look, Black Panther doesn't know who he is, and he's in space, and he doesn't know where he is, and nobody knows who he is. This is booty. And yeah, it really was. If you like the story, that's great. But when you think about, and this is what I think about because one of my hats is being a marketer. When you see when people go out and see this movie in droves and it becomes a surprise, billion, possibly multi-billion dollar at some point franchise, holy crap. People are going to want to go back and see the books. And when they go back and they see the books and they see Lost in Space with T'Challa, nobody's going to get onto that book. So that was dumb. That was with all due respect to Ta-Nehisi Coates, and Marvel specifically, that was a boneheaded, stupid maneuver to do. That was just about as dumbass a move like jackasses running the freaking Lemon March. Like, just absolutely ridiculous. So here's this chance that Marvel has to make the Black Knight a great character again. I really hope that's what they're doing. Because people are going to see Kit Harington. Men and women are going to see this movie when it eventually comes out, when the pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, is over. All right? We're going to want to return to the movie theaters. We're going to want to see these movies. And when you and I see these movies, hey, the problem is when they see the movies, the people are going to be like, oh, this Black Knight character is actually really cool. Wow, this is a Marvel character? They actually had a Black Knight character? Like, who is he? And blah, blah, blah. When you and I are coming out of the movie theaters and we see this person, hear these people talking, and we either smile and keep walking or go over and it's like, actually, he's a pretty cool character from the books. Look, lately he sucked, but we want to be able to say, go and check out the current series that Cy Spurrier just did or is currently doing or whatever. Because, yeah, man, like it starts off weird because he had to fix some continuity issues in the back, and, he's a goofy character, but look at what Cy did, man. He made him into a character that, we can respect on the big screen, just like this. There's that opportunity. And I hope he doesn't waste it. No spoilers for the end of this book, but something happens in this book where it would be as easy as that. I'm talking Thanos level easy. To just like Infinity Gauntlet already lined up, and he just, saying, done. And all of a sudden, he's a serious character again. We can have that right now, starting with the next issue. Maybe we won't. Maybe it'll take 3 issues to get there. I hope it doesn't even take that long. I want him to be a serious character again. And if Cy doesn't do that, well, you messed up, Cy. You funked up just like everybody else in the past several years. And if that's what Marvel told you to write, whatever. Black Knight isn't one of those characters who, like, if somebody told me to write a version of Captain America that I simply did not agree with, I would tell Marvel to stuff it. That's just me. But I'm in a position where I don't need Marvel's money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fortunate in that regard. And I would, like, if I was a better writer and people, like, respected what I was doing, I would absolutely be in a position where I could say, no, I wouldn't do that. Black Knight's not one of those characters that you go and take a stance for, but for the love of God, I hope that Marvel is smart enough, and I hope that Cy Spurrier recognizes this is a chance to make the character fantastic again, and then just move on so that people can see the movie and see the book, and just you've got an audience, a built-in audience for this book, for this character. That's really all I've got to say about it. Guys, tell me if you agree or you disagree. Do you believe that Black Knight is beyond redemption? Like he's never going back to those days in the Avengers, and he's just going to be a joke from this point on, a failed slapstick, a failed Deadpool, a failed Gwenpool, whatever. Let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Like the video, watch an ad, and see 2 other people yelling. We're all yelling at each other back and forth about our agreements and disagreements in the comic book history with writers and artists and storylines and you name it. You know what I'm saying? In the comic books and characters spotlight specifically on the Heroes Collide podcast. Right now available on Spotify. Should be on Apple iTunes, but, Apple Podcasts, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.